everyone, it's Leslie here, and today is release day, so I have decided that I will read you the first chapter of Return to Bethlehem. So for those of you who haven't read Road to Bethlehem, I will give you just a quick update. So in Road to Bethlehem, main characters Hannah and Joshua end up back in the past, and so they end up in Mary's house, and they travel with Mary and Joseph from Nazareth to Bethlehem, where they witness the birth of Jesus. During that time, they become really good friends with with Mary and Joseph. And then after Jesus is born, they go back into the future, and they are back at home, and everything is normal until Christmas Eve in the year following, where Joshua says a prayer, and he ends up back in the past. So let's start reading from chapter 1, which is when Joshua wakes up. And I apologize for the little band across that, but that is KDP. So let's read. So chapter 1 is called Not Again. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem in Judea, during the time of King Herod, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. When Joshua opened his eyes, he had to blink twice to make sure he was not still in a dream. He let out a loud yawn, his eyes heavy. Something told him it was the middle of the night. He reached for his clock to check the time, but he couldn't find it. Hannah lay next to him on a bright red mat. In the dim light of several lamps, he made out wall tapestries and the kind of furniture that Mummy would say was not for jumping on. Joshua closed his eyes and groaned. Not again! Dear God, he prayed, you know I didn't mean it. Please send us home before Hannah wakes up. Amen. He finished his prayer, but just like last year, nothing happened. God had given them another adventure for Christmas, and he wasn't offering a refund. Maybe Hannah would be braver now that she had finished kindergarten. She had been brave about 60% of the time during their journey to Bethlehem. Maybe this time she would be 80% brave. Hannah didn't stir as Joshua searched for the source of the voices that he had been hearing for some time now. There, at the back of the large room, there was an arched doorway. Light leaked through along with the sound of people talking. Greetings, King Herod, said a deep, thickly accented voice. Herod? What? The butterflies in Joshua's tummy took flight. Surely that was what he felt clogging up his throat. Greetings, travellers, Herod replied. I offer you refreshments and the hospitality of my house. Pottery clinked, then shadows shifted, blocking the light. Joshua glanced back at Hannah. Still asleep, he thought. I should find out what's going on, if I can, before she wakes up. I'll be like a spy. Thinking about all the spy books in his bedroom, Joshua crept over to peek into the main room. He got down low near the ground, then peered out, careful not to make any sudden movements. If someone saw him, maybe they'd think he was a mouse. It took him a moment to make sense of what he was seeing. Servants were offering bread and wine to a group of men in brightly coloured robes. King Herod looked about the same age as Daddy, with dark skin and eyes, dark shoulder-length hair, and a neatly trimmed beard. If it weren't for the crown on his head, he would have reminded Joshua of a school teacher. I thought he would have looked scarier. After a long drink, the man at the front of the group smiled. Thank you, King Herod. We have travelled many miles and are weary. I am most eager to know the reason for your journey. Have you brought me gifts? Herod asked, shifting on his uncomfortable-looking throne as if his bottom was numb. The first man consulted another by his side. Joshua counted 4 travellers, and his lips quirked up in a smile. I'll have to tell Mummy it was 4 men, not 3. Maybe she can tell Pastor Phil, and he can get the Bible translators to fix that up. We have come from the east bearing gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh for the new king. Herod's forehead creased the way Mummy's did before she started shouting. He must be angry he's not the only king. Another voice joined in. Where is the one who has been born King of the Jews? The second man looked around, as if expecting Jesus to magically appear. We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him, said a third man. I have not heard of a new king, Herod laughed. Ha 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 ha! But he didn't seem amused. His eyes did not crinkle at the sides the way Daddy's did when he laughed at a joke. I think I would notice if I had a new babe. The wise men muttered amongst themselves. Joshua could not make out their words, but they seemed confused and agitated. Rest, friends. My servants will take you to rooms where you may refresh yourselves and sleep. I will speak with my officials. I am most interested in finding your new king. Herod did not sound interested to Joshua. He sounded angry. The muttering continued for a moment before the first wise man joined his hands together as if he were praying, and he bowed to King Herod. Many thanks for your hospitality. We will speak in the morning. Indeed, said the king. He waved his hands to his servants. Several of them ushered the wise men from the room. Their footsteps covered the sound of a small gasp behind him. Joshua turned around to see Hannah sitting up. Mummy, she called in a little voice. She glanced around the room, her forehead crinkling and her bottom lip trembling the way it did when she was just about to cry. Shh, he whispered. Her eyes found him, and she relaxed a bit. Josh, she murmured, where are we? Joshua peeked back into the main room. The wise men were almost gone. Only Herod and a few servants remained. Joshua did not want the king to find them here. From what he'd read in the Bible, Herod was not a nice man, and he didn't mind killing children. A shiver ran down Joshua's spine. Better not say that to Hannah. I'll have to be the brave one. He tiptoed back to his sister and gave her a hug. It happened again, Hannah. Oh no, she moaned. Not again. I didn't even pray about it this year. Joshua ignored the sinking feeling in his tummy. This was his fault, but he didn't want to tell Hannah about his prayer. She might be mad at him. Shh, he said again. It's okay. I just saw the wise men. I bet they can take us to Mary and Joseph until God takes us home. Mary? Hannah brightened a little. I would like to see Mary again. And baby Jesus, but he won't be a baby anymore. No, Hannah said. I bet he's about the same age as our cousin George. Hannah and Joshua jumped at the sound of breaking pottery from the next room. They exchanged frightened glances. Had Herod broken a vase? Clean that up! Herod thundered. Yes, Your Majesty. As the children peered around the edge of the archway, Joshua's heart hammered. Herod paced the room, stroking his beard. What are your thoughts on the matter, Shimon? King Herod asked. A servant, who must have been Shimon, stepped forward, glancing briefly at the young boy cleaning up the pottery. He stepped around the mess and focused his attention on the king. It is an interesting matter, Your Majesty. Might I recommend calling for the chief priests and the elders of the people? If there is a new king, they should know about it. Herod returned to his throne, his hands clenching the armrests. Very well. When it is light, summon the chief priests and the elders of the people. Tell them to bring their scrolls. I want to see for myself what they say about this new king, if they have been hiding information from me. He didn't finish the threat. Shimon waited a moment longer, as if to make sure that King Herod had no further instructions. Then he turned to leave. Quick! Joshua hissed. He dragged his sister behind a tapestry hanging on the wall. The children waited, hearts pounding. They barely breathed as the pot-bellied man hurried away. Once he had passed, Joshua and Hannah slumped against the wall, not moving, not speaking, hands clenched together. They stayed there for 10 minutes, Joshua counted, before all the sounds in the throne room disappeared, as if everyone had gone to bed. When they came out again, the throne room stood empty, lit only by a single oil lamp. Joshua squeezed Hannah's hand and whispered, That was close. A small whimper escaped her lips. Joshua looked over, surprised. His sister's face was pale. Tears ran down her cheeks. Oh no, he thought, she's crying. What do I do? Don't cry, Hannah, he whispered. I'll look after you. It must have worked, because she buried her head in his shoulders, sniffed once more, and then wiped the tears away. on his shirt. "I want Mary," she said. "I know, but we need to find out Herod's plan first. How about we pretend we're spies on a secret mission?" "Like a game?" Hannah's face brightened. "Yeah, a game. And don't forget, we know the ending, so it's not scary." "Okay," Hannah said. "What should we do first?" "Well, spies like to hide and eavesdrop," Joshua said, thinking as he spoke. "We're already hiding, so let's wait and listen to Herod's plan. Then we can tell the wise men." "Should we make up a secret code?" Hannah asked. No," Joshua said, "but we will need disguises. That can be our second step." "What do we do now?" Hannah asked. "Now we rest. Tomorrow is going to be a big day." The children scoped out the area looking for a good hiding spot. They found a small side room, almost a storage cupboard. "This looks good," said Joshua, opening the door a crack. The throne was clearly visible. He looked back, studying the room with a frown. The dust on the shelves told him it probably wasn't used very often. "We should stay in here until the morning." Hannah yawned. "Okay." They moved a mat and some cushions to make a comfy bed. Hannah fell asleep as soon as they settled in their nest, but Joshua lay there for a long time, pondering what he had seen and heard. He was glad Hannah felt safe with him looking after her. He just wished that he had someone to make him feel safe too. And that is the end of the first chapter of Return to Bethlehem. So if that is something that interests you, if you think it's something that you would enjoy or the children in your life would enjoy, then it is on sale from today from Amazon. Or if you are in Australia and you wanted to contact me and order one directly, then I can hook you up with a signed copy as well. So ones from me will be $12 plus postage if you're not in Moree, and obviously Amazon, I think they're $13.99 plus whatever you have to pay in postage. So I hope you enjoy it, and I look forward to coming back to you and letting you know where I'm going with Lost in Jerusalem, which I'm currently editing at the moment. Bye!